Alright, this is about ancestry according to the Bible. It's basically founded through special Bible code softwares that are currently up to date. Um, so it all basically began with Adam and Eve, and after the flood, which was, few people were, very few were actually saved from the flood, which is our ancestor Noah, Noah in Hebrew. And so basically, Noah had three sons, which were Shem, Japeth, and Ham. I'm going by the English names, you can say. Um, so basically, Noah and his family were saved. His wife, his children, their wives, etc. Um, let's see, Jews, Italians, Indians, and the like, and Arabs as well. The majority descend from Shem. Greeks descend from Japeth. Um, most of your darker colored people, like African American types, descend from Ham. And there's also a different African American type which descends from Canaan. So there are two types. I'm saying this for a reason because not all African Americans descend from Canaan, but there are many who descend from Ham. Um, we'll get into Shem first. Shem, mainly known, let's see, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. From Abraham descend Arabs with Hagar, the Egyptian princess that Sarah had as a maidservant. Um, he also had a concubine named Keturah, who it says he later took as a wife. Many of the descent from this concubine are Indians. Um, Also, there's Isaac, who descends from Abraham, which is the father of Isaac. Of Esav and Yaakov and Esav. Jews descend from Jacob. Yaakov is Jacob. Um, Many of the Europeans, Italians, majority of Europe, like Russians, um, they descend from Esav. Like most of your America's really descendants of Esav primarily. So there's Europeans, Americans, etc., Italians, French people, the like, whatever, descending from Isaac. Um, so you got Jews who descend from Jacob. Jacob and Esav were twins, by the way. So you got descendants of Jacob, which are the Jewish people, Israel, which have 12 tribes. Um, so that's that, and you have descendants of um, Esav, which is a lot of the Americans, a lot of Europeans, like I said. But mainly, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up, um, that many have said, and from the things that they found, that there's a small amount of, um, let's see, a certain amount of Germans that are Amalek, which the Torah speaks about Amalek. This part's for Jews, mainly. There's also a certain amount in France, and not comparing to all the nations. I mean, they've been scattered based on what King Nebuchadnezzar did, which I'll probably speak about later. So basically, but the main nation that people have said to be as Amalek and Bible code sources have found is Russia. Russia. It's interesting, you say Russia in Hebrew. What does Russia mean? Those of you who know what it means. Not all Russians, if they do descend from Amalek, are Amalek. Not all of them. Then again, not all Germans, not all French people. But there's an interesting story about Amalek, Amalekites, which King Nebuchadnezzar was responsible for scattering so many people all over the world, which was, by the way, the reincarnation of King Nebuchadnezzar was Saddam Hussein. Yes, there's a way to check these things, by the way. So, which is interesting. King Nebuchadnezzar had everybody from their places scattered, literally all over the world, scattered. So Amalek mixed in with many people. Ishmaelites example. Oh, by the way, I failed to mention the Arab nations. Islam is from Ishmael, by the way, from Abraham's wife Hagar, which Sarah took as a maidservant from Egypt. She was an Egyptian princess, Hagar was. So Amalek mixed in with lots of Ishmaelim, which are the Arabs, from all over. Amalek mixed in with a lot. Basically, you have, our ancestor, and by the way, most of the world's majority is from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Mainly Abraham. Isaac has a pretty good majority too, but that's the majority. And the thing that Islam Arabs needs to realize is Sarah, Abraham's original wife, she was barren for a good amount of time, and she basically wanted Abraham to get a wife and have a son or something. And she said to him, I'll treat him like he's my own son. She raised him up, she fed him, she grew him up. Hagar was a maidservant, and Hagar is the mother of all of Islam. And if it wasn't for Sarah saying this to Abraham, Ibrahim as you call him, when it comes to Arabs, you wouldn't have came about. By the way, one thing I want to mention is you have Russia who supplied Iran with so many nuclear weapons. Iran actually has let's just say Iran has been supplied really good by Russia, underground style. Not even the current Russian so-called leader knows what Vladimir Putin has been up to. So here's another thing. And Amalek is basically out there to sacrifice themselves to destroy Israel, Jewish people, because they've been given a mission by God. And believe it or not, Jews earn this because all the nations around the world, they earned the Torah to be Jewish, by the way, also. All nations around the world were asked, offered through God, if they would like to accept the Torah and be Jewish. They all said no. The Jewish people said yes. So you can consider the heritage Gentiles who accepted to be Jewish. So, case closed.